Capitalism has no conscience. It has no allegiances except to profits.
There was a big debate within the National Forum about racism and capitalism and its links. And people decided after long debate to call it racial capitalism as a way of understanding that racism is part of every aspect of our society, the house of racial inequality built on the foundations of capitalism.
This is the situation. In the mines, nothing has changed. The newspapers, nothing has changed the way they report because they are serving the same old interests of capitalism.
We often talk about white supremacy and capitalism as if they're not like intricately involved with each other, which is why I think it's important to have an analysis around racialized capitalism and essentially the ways in which capitalism and the way it operates is racialized in a way in which it's only sustained off the suffering of a population of people who look a particular way.
The liberal point of view which separates racism from capitalism, that apartheid and racism really was an aberration of capitalism, that view through practice and theory was utterly was challenged to such an extent that expressing that view in the mid to late 80s, you would be laughed out of court because there was so much evidence to show the contrary.
And at that time, when we started challenging all this, we were not quite aware that in fact it is capitalism that we are challenging. We were wrongfully thinking that this is white power that we are challenging, white domination. And behind that white domination, which was also suppressing and oppressing the very white workers, was the capitalist system. And so it is the capitalist system which is behind the social relations that have been playing out in this country ever since the discovery of gold and diamonds.
We've moved from a place in which there was the enslavement of our ancestors, and we are currently in a position where more of our people are in cages than were enslaved hundreds of years ago. And so, like, again, I keep thinking about that question, like, how do we disrupt the pattern of recreating history over and over again? And we have to be courageous enough to think about what is ultimately going to free our people from cages. Because I'll tell you, if we just frame our movements around sort of simply just the abolition of prisons or the end to sort of police brutality, there will be another ways in which our people are being caged, they're being surveilled, they're being tortured, they're being brutalized, and their lives are being taken from us. And so again, like, how do we disrupt that? But I think it's about training ourselves about this adaptive nature of white supremacy and capitalism, and essentially racialized capitalism that again doesn't just affect folks in the United States but around the world.
These are not just theoretical debates or abstract debates. They inform practice. They're a kind of compass, or today we talk about GPS, and allow us to deal with the issues of the day.
This country is a capitalist country operating within dominant monopoly capitalism.
Nothing has changed in South Africa except a little bit of introduction of gatekeepers, which is what I call the present ruling party. I call them the gatekeepers because they are not in charge of the economy. They've been allowed to be in parliament. They've been given a constitution which black people haven't written. And we are waiting to be allowed. Nothing has changed.